What's good, everyone? It's your boy Jeff here, and we've got some breaking news for you today. We have got Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 coming at you July 28th in Las Vegas. That's right, folks. Deontay Wilder has finally exercised his rematch clause, and this should be a interesting one. Word is coming out of Fury's camp that his promoter Frank Warren was hoping to give Tyson Fury a boatload of money, hoping that he would step aside and allow for possibly unification of the heavyweight championship. But that is not going to happen. And because of that, Anthony Joshua is now set to fight against Kubrat Pavlov for the IBF mandatory challenger. And that itself is going to take place June 20th in the Tottenham Hotspurs Stadium. Now, getting back to the Fury-Wilder fight, hopefully, I understand why he would go and take this fight, but in my personal opinion, I would think that he would like to possibly wait this one out. You know, I feel that inevitably we were going to see the trilogy match, just mainly because these guys are at their prime, and you know, people want to see that. I mean, they killed the gate for their last fight, right? They set a record for that. But you know, after watching the fight and rewatching the fight, you know, I think Tyson definitely, like he had said, he definitely figured out Wilder. He said he figured it out after his 12th round knockdown from their first fight, right? He said that Wilder can't move backwards, right? And after rewatching the fight again, he's right. There is a hole in Wilder's game. Now, yes, Wilder has got that amazing power, and he just needs to be able to land one shot to, destroy people's souls. However, he can get knocked out. Tyson showed that, and I think it's a little bit too soon for Wilder to accept this match. In my opinion, he should have waited for he should have waited for Fury to go and fight Anthony Joshua, waited for that unification, and then he himself should have fought Fury. That way he can get the taste at the unification. And the only reason that I think this is because he needs to get back to the drawing board, right? He needs to work on his feet work. He needs to learn how to be a boxer, and 4 months is just not enough time in prep to change your whole game, But I could be wrong. He could learn, Maybe it's true that his costume weighted him down, Maybe it was a little bit too warm. It had all those LED lights in it and stuff like that. He looked pretty sweaty coming in, but he looked gassed after round one. At the start of round one, he actually looked pretty gassed. So, we'll see. Apparently, there has been reports that Mayweather says, he can go and teach him how to beat Tyson. So, if Wilder's a smart man, he'll maybe give Floyd a call and get a few boxing lessons from the man himself, right? No, there's not much more to be said than, I do think that this is a little bit premature, but I understand why you would want to do this, his pride is a little bit hurt here, and he wants a shot at redemption, so I can't say I blame him for that. Hopefully this time around, though, he will, choose the Tyson Fury approach, right? Maybe he'll get carried out to the ring this time, you know what I mean? That way there's absolutely no excuses as to why he loses, right? All right, as for other news, we're going to go back to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is playing it safe, in my opinion, versus Kubrat Pavlov. Like I said, this is for the mandatory IBF belt. Excuse me. And that's set to go on June 20th. I did look up Pavlov's boxing career record. He's got a great record. He is currently 28-1. His one major loss coming to Vladimir Klitschko in 2014, and that's about it. Since then, he's had he's had an 8-fight win streak going on. He hasn't been the most active, but he's got a few wins over. Well, his biggest win, notably, is over Samuel Peters, which would have been the WBC champion at one point, right? So, yeah, that's about it. In my opinion, this is a very safe fight, but it is the IBF exercising their right to have their division no longer be held up, right? And get some sort of action going on. But like I said, I think it's a very safe fight for Anthony Joshua. Joshua will be the bigger man going into this fight. Is fighting somebody that's only about 6'4". I think Joshua himself is 6'5", 6'6". He's a big boy, and yeah, should be easy peasy for Anthony Joshua. Also, in unrelated heavyweight boxing news, I have seen pictures of Andy Ruiz, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if the Photoshop is in or if this is actually legit, but dude is looking fit as fuck, let me tell you. And that could be some scary news for the heavyweight division, because, like, as we have seen, the kid has got some good fucking hands, right? So, you know, in my opinion, heavyweight boxing hasn't been this intriguing since, like, you know, the 80s, right? You know, the late 80s, early 90s, right? You know, when we had the Lewises and freaking Holyfields and obviously Mike Tyson, you know, like, it's just an amazing, amazing time for heavyweight boxing, you know? Right now, we've got, you know, Parker just recently won his bout over the weekend, right? So, you know, Joseph Parker's looking good too, you know. I would like to see maybe Ruiz versus Parker again, you know. I think that would be a really good fight. It would be a good test to see exactly where Ruiz is. And, you know, we'll see exactly where it goes. Amazing, amazing time for heavyweight boxing right now. I don't think there has been a better time since, you know. Even when the Klitschko guys were going to town, right, it was not as exciting, right? You know, they pretty much had a lockdown on that division, and you know, to be honest, it was boring as fuck. All right, well, that being said, let's switch up gears here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the UFC. First off, there was one of the most ugliest stoppages I have ever witnessed in any combat sports. This was absolutely atrocious, and I'm pretty sure most of you know what I'm talking about. That's that Ion Kutlev versus Magomed and Nakalev. Sorry, I butcher most of these goddamn names. Anyways, Ion versus Mag. This one ended pretty goddamn quick and super premature. You know, Ion was definitely rocked, stumbled, but he was still on his feet. You know, he didn't look too good, but he was still fighting. He was still fighting intelligently. And in my opinion, Kevin McDonald stepped in way too early. It was a very disgusting display of refereeing. It was a crying shame, you know. You should have heard some of the comments afterwards, you know. As soon as it happened, you know, Ion was definitely kind of losing his mind, gave a quick little shove to the ref, you know what I mean? He was in disbelief. And Michael Bisping was the first one to say, he's lucky that he's not getting knocked out. There should get security in there right away. And he was right, you know. He's lucky to not have gotten knocked out by one of those fighters. It was a very bad stoppage, you know. A lot of people are still talking about this fight. Well, not about the fight, but the decision to stop it so soon. It was, like I said, very ugly. We have got, you know, even Big John McCarthy has piped piped in, right? He says, first off, if you're going to do a job that are associated with the commission, then do the goddamn job. If you're going to be an inspector and your job is to be in the fighter's corner and make sure that the fighter stays in the corner, then why are you watching and standing there like a fan and allowing this fighter to walk over? You know, you can start to walk with him. If he stops halfway, you can stop with him, no problem. But as soon as he crosses that midway point, your hands start to pull him away. Hey, don't ever think about it. And you move him back if you're the referee. What are you doing? Are you standing there because you're so cool? He was not impressed, John. No, he goes on to say, you've got to be paying attention when both fighters are in the cage. That cage is your responsibility. As soon as one steps in, once one steps out, you don't have to worry about anything. But when they're both in there, your attention is on the fighters. So that whole bit with when they come together, that could have ended horribly. It didn't, but it did about 38 seconds later. If you're going to do that, do the goddamn job. Quit trying to look cool. Quit trying to be a fan. Do your freaking job. Big John was not impressed with this at all. You know, and it's no shame, right? Like, it was just very disgusting. It shouldn't have happened, shouldn't have gone down. But these things happen, I guess, right? I think the overall big problem with this is, doesn't necessarily stem from MMA, but this is probably coming from the more so to do with boxing, right? Last year, boxing had 3 deaths, and it seems like all referees are really putting an end to things pretty quick, right? Case in point, in this last weekend on the DAZN boxing card there, Joseph Parker versus Winters. Winters got dropped in the 5th round for a second time in the fight. I felt like he did get up in time to continue on, but the referee came in and stopped that fight prematurely. You know, he was on wobbly legs, and I kind of give kudos to the referee on that one, but at the same time too, he probably could have let that go on a little bit more, right? And I'm sure Winters would have gone down yet again. But you're seeing this more and more often, right? And I think it's more so a commission thing than anything else, right? The commissions are really scared to have another fighter die under their watch, right? Kind of a bad time for combat sports in this regard, and I don't know if we're going to get past this. I don't know if this is going to become the new trend. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully things will get back to a little bit of the norm, right? Maybe John McCarthy needs to start doing more refereeing classes, right? I know he does do them, but maybe he needs to do it like full-time on a full-time basis, right? We would love to see Big John back in the ring again, just reffing matches. There was none better than Big John himself, right? What an icon to the sport and a legend. Now, staying on the whole UFC thing, we also got to see Benavidez versus Figueiredo. The only reason that I'm bringing this up, this is there was an opportunity for the winner to capture the World Flyweight Championship, and because Figueiredo won and was unable to make weight, we still don't have a champion in the flyweight division. Which, I mean, if this is going to happen, right? I mean, technically, you should just give it back to Cejudo, right? I mean, I don't like seeing these fights go down. There needs to be a heavier punishment right? And in my opinion, we need to see Benavidez versus Figueiredo, you know, and this kind of put Benavidez in a bad spot. Benavidez has been training for a while. He's been on the comeback trail, right? He's been off fighting for a fair bit. And, you know, maybe he should have said, no, get me a different opponent. I made weight. You know, this guy needs to make weight as well, right? He was off by like 3 pounds or 2.5 pounds or something ridiculous like that, right? And I don't know how the fuck these things happen, you know? Like, you're getting paid some good fucking dollars. This is your profession. You really need to crack down on these guys, right? I think the UFC needs to start adopting what FC1 does and start doing these hydration tests, right? The idea behind these hydration tests is you got somebody that comes around and checks on you regularly, just much like USADA does, right, for drug testing, but this time they do hydration tests. They want to see exactly where your hydration level is and, you know, how dehydrated are you, right? If you're of this height and this size, you should be fighting in said division. And I think it'll bring a lot more parity, and we will see actually a lot more skill win through than a lot of these bigger fighters dropping down to ridiculously low weights. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like a guy like Michael Chiesa, right? Huge fucking tall beast of a man is fighting in the 145 pound division. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous, right? You know, in my opinion, most fighters do this so that they can have an advantage. And if you're doing this and you're looking for an advantage in a fight, you know what I mean, by using weight, then maybe there's a hole in your game. You need to go back to the drawing board, right? Because let's just face it, most people who are in the know, they don't really respect that shit. Anyways, that's my opinion. Thanks for stopping in, folks. As always, make sure to follow me, hit that subscribe button, give a thumbs up, let me know what y'all think about it, and make sure to check out my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Peace.